Good morning, Cougars. Well, it may not be morning when you're watching this, but anyway, um, Miss Mendoza and I, and Miss Gallagher and Miss Rhodes are all in a book club together, right? And so we, this last month, just read this book, The Blackbird Girls. And I will tell you, it is an awesome book. It's historical fiction. It is based on a true story, someone's actual story, and so it rings true as you read it because it is based on someone's story, and basically you have two time periods running. You have the early 1940s, which, as we know, is the era of World War II. And then you have also the early 1980s, which is the era of the Cold War. And so you kind of have these two timelines going on. But this story is based around the largest nuclear reactor incident. I think incident is a light word. A nuclear reactor failure that has ever happened in the history of the world. It's in Chernobyl. And basically what happened, the Soviet Union was using nuclear energy to power homes and businesses and things like that. And they were going through some safety protocols, and there was a reactor failure. And when nuclear reactors fail, it tends to create a lot of fallout. And what happened in this case was the nuclear reactor failed, there was an explosion, and nuclear waste was propelled into the air. And the Soviet Union government didn't want to look weak, and so they tried to cover it up. And all the people who lived kind of in that blast zone were exposed to radiation. And so this story is about two families during that time. The dads were at work in the reactor when it went off, and the moms were at home, and the girls were at home, and they went to school that day like nothing was wrong. And it's the story about how they kind of had to flee from the reactor and how people treated them. On top of that, we still have some issues with hate between Jews and non-Jews, and so that's in the story. And then we have this element of the 1940s where the Jews were running for their lives in the same area to avoid the Holocaust. That piece is brought in. And so it's this story of these unlikely companions learning to love together and trust in a time when trust was not there. And it just was an incredibly well-crafted story. If you have been enjoying World War II books, I highly recommend this one. The Blackbird Girls. It just was so good. I do want to warn you that there are some scenes in it that are hard. They do talk about the hate between the religions. They do show you how people were treated. There's also some abuse going on in this story, and that is shared. And so there are some tough topics. It's one of those books that I say read, research the time periods, research the incident, and talk with your parents about it. Talk with your parents about what you're reading. It's a super cool book, and it's well done, and it's just a great story to talk about a time period in an incident that we don't really talk about very much. We talk about all the big stuff in World War II, but we don't talk about some of the other things that happened during that time, like this nuclear reactor failure. So, anyway, Blackbird Girls, go out and read it. Super awesome book. I know it's reverse real, but it's pretty awesome. Anyway, see y'all later.